there's very few other drivers, I think, that they could have in that car that would have pulled off what they were able to do with Max. I think that goes without saying. And by very few, I mean like maybe one other driver or two other drivers on the grid at the minute. And sorry, but Lando Norris this year wasn't one of them. As much as I give him high praise,
I don't think there's any other driver on the current grid that could
maybe Leclerc. Maybe Leclerc.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, another record was broken. Yes, Alpine can be worse than they were in the past. Oh, and Max won his 4th title. So I guess we should talk about the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Should we?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or should we just get angry like Charles Leclerc?
We'll do that as well. I mean, I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. This is the Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast. In case you didn't know.
Yeah. If you didn't know, why are you here? Subscribe.
Yeah. I mean, if you are and you didn't know, it's an amazing podcast, the best in Formula One coverage right now. Shut up! It's the best.
It's subpar, to be honest. But look, it's good enough.
Yeah, but
it's good enough for the idiots who are watching. It's fine. You know. Yeah.
In case you're still not one of the idiots, just subscribe.
Right.
Join the group. Join the fucking group.
What are we starting with?
Yes, let's start with Alpine in that case. I mean,
oh god. So you want to start at the back and work your way up, yeah? Start with the pain.
No, let's start with Max. I mean, he deserves the whole thing.
Yeah.
You go first.
I'm just hurt, to be honest, because I mean, it's Vettel was the only 4-time world champion with Red Bull winning 4 times in a row, but here we are now. No, just amazing. To be honest with you, it's been one of those seasons where, like, Max has kind of got everything over the past few years, hasn't he? Like, in terms of people slandering him, Ted Kravitz specifically, which is why I'll never be invited on Sky Sports, among other reasons. Like 2021, it was stolen. 2022, cost cap and, blah, blah, blah. 2023, dominant car. He needs the fastest car to win. I think this year has proven, like, look, obviously a lot of credit, as always, we'll say, has to go to the team too, who, like, executed everything brilliantly.
No.
But yeah, brilliant from Max.
No credit to the team.
Why?
It's on Max.
You've been. How much has Jos Verstappen paid you to say this?
I'm still waiting for my check to clear. But apparently,
I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't seem like a trustworthy fellow. No, look, Max, this is one year where, like, he had the advantage of having the fastest car for the first, like, 6-7 races, to be fair, but realistically, like, there's not many drivers, I think, that would have been able to just hold out the way he did. Just absolutely spectacular throughout the season. Look, as I said, as always, the teams have a big part to play. This is Formula One at the end of the day. If you don't believe that, then you obviously don't understand the sport. So I know you do, and you were winding people up. But incredible. And I think the only thing about tonight, well, last night, was I think we kind of expected the championship to be done here, right? It was kind of like, this is it. Yet Martin Brundle and Crofty were still continuously talking about the championship the whole way through. And every time Martin Brundle said it, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this championship's over. Like, even if he doesn't win here, it's over. Like, there's no, like, what are you talking about?
The best line was, 4 laps left, Crofty says, and Lando Norris has closed the gap to Max to 10 seconds. Like, what the fuck are you talking?
I swear there must be something in the Sky Sports commentary booth that just, like, a big sign that says mention the championship, and every couple of minutes they're like, oh yeah, right,
oh god,
it just, yeah. But
I mean, if Lando Norris was not British, he would probably be more loved right now, because the kind of shit he's had to take, and look, a lot of it has been utter nonsense. But
let's talk about Max first, because otherwise people will complain about you being a Lando Norris stan.
Talk about Max. I think for me, what stands out when it comes to Max right now is, and I think the best part is Lando summed it up. Sorry to say that, but Lando summed it up perfectly. He said that when he has the best car, he dominates. When he has a decent car, he's still in contention.
Yeah.
I think that should tell you everything about him. Again, look, there's something about this season where we have to give credit to Red Bull as well, because there aren't many teams that can actually bounce back from the fact that they had the fastest car in the first race, and by the 6th to 7th race, not 6 to 7, but by mid-season, you could say that the car was not there.
Yeah.
It was not going to be the fastest car, and the verdict was out. At that point, usually you see teams crumbling. You see what happened. I mean, a lot of people, I think we've even seen on different social medias that they were coming after Christian Horner, coming after his head. George Verstappen, one of them. But I think what Red Bull as a foundation has shown is, of course, there are going to be setbacks, but your foundation when it comes to your team operation, your ability to deal with stressful situations, I think that's what defines Red Bull at this stage. And Max is an integral part of it, but he's not the only part of it. There are a lot of moving parts that actually work together to make the whole thing work. And I think we should not discount that.
I think for people complaining about Christian Horner Christian Horner deserves a lot of credit for it, because the culture and that kind of desire to just get through things and work together and kind of do that is set at the top always. So when things go wrong, he takes the blame, but he has to equally get the credit when things go right. And with everything that's gone on with Red Bull this year, fair play to Christian. That is with him specifically as well. Like you have to, regardless of whether you like the guy or not, like if you're just talking just pure out and out competitive as a businessman, as a just competitor, fair play to him, because like a lot of people would crumble under that pressure really quickly, and he not only held it together but literally kept fighting back and turning it around. And you know, he did the Clinton thing, I think, which is when things go really wrong. And Clinton is a good analogy here, because what Clinton basically said was
Shaggy, right? It wasn't.
No, well, Clinton just makes more sense, because like Clinton was obviously not only accused of this stuff, proven
obviously white.
Well, that's true too, but he was proven to have done this stuff, and the strategy was instead of talking about it and trying to apologize for it, I'm just going to focus on the economy and fixing the country, and that's what kind of Christian Horner almost did. Christian Horner has one of his quieter years. Normally he's out winding people up saying stuff. And I think when things went wrong, he just did the right thing, which was, all right, let's just focus on fixing this on track and winning with Max. And then everyone will shut up. And I think in a way it's worked. Like, you know, it's Max has won the championship. A lot of people.
Yeah. And I think it's, I think it's a testament to Horner, and I don't know how much to Marco as well, but the fact that in the race in Brazil you had Christian, Jos and Marco sitting across the same table with Max.
Yeah.
You could not have imagined that at the start of the season.
No.
I think that's the most important thing. And again, all of them have made some compromises. Whatever they are, we will probably never know.
Yeah.
It's just that right now, I mean, the amount of crow that Christian had to eat early in the season when it comes to a lot of things, when it comes to, look, Newey is gone, Wheatley is gone, Rob Marshall has excelled at McLaren, Dan Fallows is also left, and okay, maybe some would not have a high opinion of him, but he was considered one of the more influential people at Red Bull. And there were moments where a lot of people questioned if Max would be at Red Bull in 2025, and there are people who still question about his future. But the thing is, he got the whole thing done, and again, future is uncertain, and it is expected to be.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the line, we have to understand that this was what a championship-winning team does, and I mean, I'm not trying to take credit away from Max, but this is an angle that does not get spoken about a lot. Yeah. Just look at what happened on Thursday, on Friday. They had I wouldn't say a wrong wrong rear wing, which is again utter nonsense that a lot of people have spewed out. It wasn't the wrong rear wing.
They just didn't have a better rear wing, basically.
Exactly, and they made modifications. Right, there's no Adrian Newey present. It was Pierre Vacher who made the modifications, the whole cuts and...
They did something that like backmarker teams with no budget do, which is just cut the thing down. And I do think that is an element that has kind of been instilled in the team. I would say by Newey as well, and perhaps by the background of Horner coming from like lower series and trying. Like Horner didn't come from a poor family, but he wasn't rich enough to have his own team even in lower series. So like, there's a lot of that kind of grit and working their way up kind of thing. Even though these guys aren't exactly poor, but you know what I mean. They still have to work to get somewhere.
Of course. It's understandable.
Yeah. Just, people don't like white privilege these days. But yeah, so what I mean by that is there's a lot of other teams that would not cut that wing down, would not do that, especially the front teams. Like, I can't see Ferrari going out and going, cut that wing down, because they're like, that would look bad. Maybe they would, but it feels like Red Bull is just, they don't care what they have to do, what they have to look like, who they have to copy. Like, I remember them copying a Williams design 2 years ago, I think it was. Like, they will just, it's just, we don't have any arrogance about what works or where it comes from. We just want to win. And we're just going to do whatever it takes to win. So you get a lot of people laughing. They're like, how did they have that wing? And, how are they cutting? Like, they're becoming Sauber. Look at them cutting the wing down. And it's like, hey, it worked. So, yeah. I mean, I love that. Yeah. It's one of the things I love about Red Bull. Just that startup. It feels like they still have that startup energy. That's one thing. Sorry to rant on, but that's one thing that Horner, I think, spoke about earlier this year, or someone in the team did, which was one of the things they did at the start was as soon as they got kind of outcast as like a silly team. Remember when they joined the grid, and they were playing their music, and it was all manufacturers back then, basically, and it was like this outcast team. And they saw themselves as like, all right, well, we're going to win as the outcast team. Like, everyone else is the enemy. We're the outsiders. And Horner earlier this year talked about how that's still something the team feels like. Even when they're winning multiple titles, they're the outsider, the underdog. They have to pick an enemy and fight them. And, it's great. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, you see them doing that. And again, you take the Max Verstappen out of the equation and you'll see the team taking a lot of shit. But I think at some point you have to realize that primes end, and primes would end even in this case. But what Red Bull was able to achieve this season, of course, Max plays a big role. We'll get to him as well. But somewhere down the line, you have to understand making the right calls, being calm under stress is something that Red Bull has excelled in.
Yep.
It's the championship acumen that not many teams have. I mean, just look at the nonsense that Ferrari and Alpine did today. Look at the nonsense that Mercedes has done when it comes to its PR throughout the fucking season. And just look at what McLaren does. You don't see all that nonsense with Red Bull, and that is something where they know this is the driver that's going to win them the title, and they just push him to the hilt. Well, I think that's something that a lot of teams
look even at the really quick just change that they made, the really quick kind of like, as soon as they started losing the constructors, it was basically just, right, everything behind Max, let's win this drivers' championship, let's just forget about the constructors, like in just a crazy way where it's like, this is just, right, the team's just doing this. And I would not be surprised if Horner and maybe the board or something have realised that earlier on and said to the team, look, if we win the driver's title, we'll cover the constructors like bonuses or something, to kind of get everyone behind it. Because it felt like the team just kind of rallied around Max and it went on ahead. And it's just, obviously, look, I think there's very few other drivers, I think, that they could have in that car that would have pulled off what they were able to do with Max. I think that goes without saying. And by very few, I mean like maybe one other driver or two other drivers on the grid at the minute. And sorry, but Lando Norris this year wasn't one of them, as much as I give him high praise.
I don't think there's any other driver on the current grid that could
maybe Leclerc. Maybe Leclerc.
No, I don't think so. So.
Leclerc and Russell is who I was thinking, but
no, I don't think so. I just don't think so. I don't think they... First of all, I don't think that Leclerc or Russell have reached that level of performance where every week, and I think this is the mentality that, and people don't understand. Yeah, it's not only that, it's just, look, Max Verstappen was a thoroughbred driver already by 2020, and people don't realize that those formative years how much they've helped him.
Yeah.
Leclerc, I'd say he's still not the finished product because of the kind of stuff that I saw today. George, we've seen these formative years right now in Mercedes because he's finally had the chance to run at the front.
Yeah.
And that stuff is what Max did, where he made sure that, look, by 2018, until 2018, for him, it was about, okay, I don't have the car which is capable of winning the title or races on every weekend. So I'm just going to go out there and try my best. And what that used to do was it made him very crash prone.
Yeah.
But after the couple crashes in China and Monaco, he made a change in his attitude where it became about maximizing every weekend.
Yeah.
From 2018 till 2020, he did that regularly. So that when 2021 came, it's muscle memory for him. And
just
even right now, it's
everything.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
Everything he does, it's about, okay, this is the car I have, and I want to get the best possible result. And he goes after it, and I don't think, unless, other than maybe Michael Schumacher, I have not seen a driver who's done that this consistently. Maybe Alonso in 2012, but I don't think there's been any other driver who's done that.
No, you're right. Like, I mean, Alonso 2012 does come to mind because impressive in such a shit car in reality. Schumacher, like we constantly say it, right? Best driver since Schumacher. I will die on this hill on Twitter, but it's not better driver than Schumacher yet. It could well get there, but not yet. There's just no metric in which it's feasibly true for me. But just an absolutely incredible drive. The thing is, I said last year when it was getting a little bit dull that he was winning every weekend, right? You know, it was like, it was incredible to watch, but by the end of the season, you're like, right, I wanted to see that once, please not again. Like, you know, fine.
And it's out of the system now.
Yeah, the one thing I always said was, I don't really care which driver wins as long as they have to fight for it. And the one thing I kept saying to some Max fans last year was, when I was like saying, oh, it's getting a bit dull now, just this continual domination, you know?
Yeah.
The thing I said to some Max fans was, I don't really care if he wins every weekend. I just want a close fight. I want to see Max earn it. And I think that's what's been brilliant about this year. We've seen Max earn it over and over again. And if it wasn't for Brazil, this would have been a really just one of the best drives for him of the season, I think, just purely because the car expectation wasn't there. Like, when we were in FP1, FP2, I did not think that this car was going to be anywhere near up there. And I know he finished, what was it, P4? No, P5?
P5. Yeah.
I know he finished P5, but in fairness, where the car actually is, even that was impressive. You know, like, it was a good drive, I thought. And
it was good. I think
everything after Brazil isn't impressive though, because Brazil was just a masterclass. So
yeah, but again, even this weekend, I think, look, he places the car where car is supposed to be. It's not a case of a car being supposed to do 100 and he does 105. That's not how any car works. That's a
pet peeve of mine is when people go, oh, he overdrove the car. It's like, no, he drove the car on the limit. You can't overdrive. The car will do what the car will do. Like, the trick is to be able to drive it on the limit without crashing. Because when you go over the limit of a car, that's when you crash. So you're not overdriving the car, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, sorry, pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, so it's just about that only. I think he could have finished on the podium if he knew that maybe the stakes were higher and he needed the points, because I think he had decent enough pace and he would have defended a bit. He would have been a bit more rigorous with his defense.
He came on the radio a couple of times and just asked where Lando was. So I think the only important
just
thing
wanted to secure it, right?
I think the team kind of knew, like, they kind of knew they could clinch it here, and this was the first time they could clinch it. What it sounded like to me was he probably was like, the whole team's here, we've had a tough year, and celebrating in Vegas would be fucking awesome, so let's just get it done.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like, you know. So
yeah.